The Fishman Island remake has arrived, and it's leaving everyone jaw-dropped. The Straw Hats have reunited after 2 years of training like dogs, ready to throw down with anyone who crosses their path. And the end of this episode was nothing short of absolute cinema. The anime kicks off with a crazy new opening. Luffy swiping a tangerine from Nami, and the Sunny cruising underwater, passing by some freaky monsters. Sanji and Brook got to see the real All Blue with a whole lot of respect, if you know what I mean. And this Hody Jones dude is definitely hitting the juice hard, because I don't remember him looking this jacked before. Well, this is a respectful arc, so it's bound to be amazing. The episode officially begins 2 years after the Great War of the Big Shots. Our boy Luffy is on an island called Ruskina, right next to the Women's Island. He's got a Viver card with Rayleigh's name on it, and can't believe it's been 2 years training like a madman with the old dude. The ship was ready to set sail, and Luffy went to say goodbye to his new wild friends. He was pretty regretful because they looked delicious, but since they were his pals, he couldn't exactly eat them, unless it was for the Brotherhood. But Hancock told him not to worry because there'd be something way better for him to eat on the ship. He's only going to be sad when he finds out she's not talking about meat. Over at Sabody archipelago, a bunch of drunkards said they got all hyped up when Kid, Drake, and the whole worst generation came through the island 2 years ago. And of course, Nami was there at the bar, listening to everything undercover. They said everyone thought the Straw Hats had kicked the bucket since no one had heard from them for 2 years. But suddenly, they showed up at Sabody, putting up recruitment posters everywhere. Like Luffy would just pick any rando, right? To join the crew, you gotta at least be a talking tree, a unicorn, or a skeleton who drinks hand sanitizer for breakfast. And speaking of the devil, there was exactly one like that ready to put on the greatest rock show this world's ever seen. The crowd was so massive it made the Beatles look small time. The Bonehead sang a song about how life as a skeleton is one tough bone to chew. That's the Soul King, a true rock star. When the ultimate simp arrived on the island, of course, he started simping right away. But you can't even judge him this time, cause it's the first time in 2 years he's seen a real woman. He trained on an island where all the women had 3 legs. The guy even cried with emotion, but he still scared off every woman on the street. The man's a walking female repellent. He was already shaky when his true crushes blew him goodbye kisses. This bald-headed bartender says the Marine HQ moved, and since it's far away now, a bunch of criminals started showing up in Sabody. That's why this place was looking like a real hellhole. A chubby dude shot a guy in the gut who wanted to join his crew. The minimum bounty had to be 70 million berries, but this guy only had 55 million. This one was Monkey D. Luffy, son of the Revolutionary Dragon, and he had a mighty crew made up of Nami, Frankie, and Sogeking. The guy was ruthless and even shot that pirate's lid off. The discount Frankie says 100 pirates already tried to sign up for the crew, and 2 of them seem to have monstrous potential. Caribou the Wet-Haired and Koroboo the Blood Drainer. They're 2 psycho brothers known for executing Marine soldiers. That hippo told Nami to stop drinking alone and come sit on his lap, but she was chillin' there, waiting for someone. And Sogeking says it's probably just some chump who'll freak out as soon as he hears the name Captain Luffy. But she drops the real talk and says these losers don't stand a chance with her, much less this elephant with a straw hat. That's her stomach full after munching on a pig like that, and the long nose asks if that cutie wanted to have a drink with him. Nami's all happy, saying it's been a while since she's seen Usopp, and he's grown a lot. And for a few seconds, God Usopp had the best moments of his life. He says this is his new weapon, the Pop Green Sea. And hey, he didn't spend those 2 years just watching the waves, right? Now, he wasn't in the weakling trio with her and Chopper anymore. He might actually be even stronger than the captain. Nami grabs his arm to get out of that pub fast, and Usopp got freaked out thinking that mammoth guy was actually Luffy. Then some dark clouds showed up to shock the heck out of those phonies. At Shaki's bar, Sanji couldn't believe that the moss-head swordsman was the first to arrive. Frankie was second and went straight to see how the Sunny was after Rayleigh coated the ship. But the ship only stayed safe thanks to Sanji's lookalike and his gang who protected it with tooth and nail. Duval started recounting the nightmare he went through for that, but the ultimate simp couldn't care less when Shaki mentioned that Nami was the 3rd to arrive. The long-nosed Usopp was 4th, and Chopper the raccoon was 5th. Brook was putting on a show in the city, and so far the Egg Fryer was the last to arrive. Only Robin and the captain himself were missing to reunite the whole crew, because, you know, they're disciples of Neymar. The most important player is always the last to show up. Sanji couldn't believe Rayleigh himself trained Luffy. He couldn't stop imagining what a beast Luffy must be now. In the city, Little Chopper was shouting for Zoro, Sanji, and Robin to wait up. They hadn't seen each other in ages, and they didn't even stop to say hi. And these two airheads couldn't believe that this was the real Tony Chopper with a bounty of 50 berries. The kid didn't even realize that these weren't the real Straw Hats, so they planned to ditch the fake Foxy and keep the imposters in broad daylight. Meanwhile, the real Robin had just arrived in the city, totally chill. Let's be real. Chopper, with the mind of a 5-year-old mistaking fake Straw Hats is one thing, but Cypher Paul agents trained to spot an ant from 10 miles away, not being able to tell Robin from that half-meter bobblehead is just ridiculous. Back at G1 Naval Base, they heard the Straw Hats were recruiting new members in Sabody, so they sent all their troops to investigate because if the Straw Hats really were alive, that would be a big problem. At Grove 47, a couple was just out on a stroll when the girl got shot right in the chest, and that so-called Straw Hat Luffy apologized, saying he mistook her for another woman just like her. The funny thing is, she looked nothing like Nami. Her boyfriend asked how he could shoot without even checking, and he got shot too, just for laughs. And the fatso said that if he wanted to hate someone, it should be that couple he was looking for. Meanwhile, there was a kid carrying a huge suitcase who bumped into Don Big Deal Demoro. The kid said it was an accident, but Big Deal Dom got furious with him. So let's go back a few minutes when Luffy had just arrived on the island. Hancock told him to wear that disguise so no one would recognize him, and Rubber Monkey just laughed, saying she was being too dramatic. So she covered his whole face, leaving only the respectful view. She told him to be careful because the whole world thought he was already 6 feet under. But if they saw his face from 2 years ago, they'd recognize him instantly, and if he caused trouble, his crew wouldn't be able to leave the island. So back to the present, Dinner Zombie asked if the kid bumped into him on purpose. He pointed his coat-poking tool at the kid's face and asked if he knew who he was. A pirate with a 400 million berry bounty who deserved to have him on his knees begging for his life. The chubby king said a long-nosed guy and a redhead had just messed with the captain and paid the price, so he better kneel if he didn't want to be next. And in terms of skills, he may not be a master, but this guy's already lying just like Usopp. He's got all the makings of a true Soja King. The Rubber Monkey apologizes again and says he's gotta go. He bumped into that vagabond again, who shot without a second thought, but Luffy dodged it like the bullet was moving in slow-mo. He even used Insane Conqueror's haki, knocking out all those goons at once. You know he's leveled up when he managed to control his haki so well that he didn't knock out any civilians nearby. Robin finally arrives at the Sunny, and Frankie lets out a "Sopper" yell, asking if this stunning woman is the Straw Hat's archaeologist. She says he hasn't changed a bit, but she must be blind, because now the mech's looking like a machine beyond human understanding. Now that Rayleigh has coded the ship, they'll finally be able to sail under the sea. Robin was the 8th to arrive. Only Luffy is left. The fake Straw Hats finally wake up and Chopper runs up, all excited to greet everyone. But the Kung Fu cook is still trying to process what that kid did to knock them out in a second. He panics when he finds out that the big-headed Nico Robin was kidnapped. Crackhead Sanji thinks she was taken by the government by mistake, and this idiot says it's not hard to believe since she's identical to the original. That has to be a joke, right? He says it's a shame but bad luck for her, and Chopper freaks out saying he's never abandoned a crewmate before. But Mr. Big Plate was shouting that their only priority was to meet up with the 100 new recruits for the crew, and to make those 3 regret messing with the Straw Hat Luffy. But Chopper starts crying and asks if these past 2 years changed his personality. How could he just abandon Robin? The poor guy's actually believing this is the real Luffy, so he runs off saying he'll save her on his own. 2 Marines hiding nearby are saying without a doubt, these are the Straw Hats. Sure, they might look a bit different from 2 years ago, but nobody else has a weird pet like that. They radio HQ asking for all reinforcements to capture these crooks. They sent an entire battalion, Sentomaru, and the Pacifistas to arrest a bunch of overweight fakes. They even brought the strongest Pacifistas, thinking the Straw Hats must have powered up over the past 2 years. At Grove 42, there's an old man losing it because a green-haired man disappeared. He says the guy showed up before anyone else and asked to take a spin on his fishing boat. The Egg Fryer asks if it was a green-haired guy with 3 swords. Yup, that's him. He also mentions a huge scar over his eye, and Sanji has no clue what's going on. The problem is Zoro got on the wrong boat. The old man tried to warn him it was a pirate ship, but the guy was in a deep sleep and wouldn't wake up, no matter what. And now he's probably headed toward Fishman Island. The old man says he's in danger on a pirate ship, but the street cook tells him to relax. Suddenly, everyone gets worked up because a pirate ship appears split in half. They think it wasn't coded properly and got destroyed by the pressure, or that a sea king attacked it. But the captain asks how that jerk dared to destroy their dream of reaching the new world. And, wouldn't you know it, Roronoa Zoro appears, saying it was Fate's fault for putting the walking disaster on his ship. He sheaths his sword and casually says he boarded the wrong boat. And good thing he mentioned it, because otherwise no one would have guessed. And the episode ends. In the next episode, Chopper will finally reunite with the real Straw Hats. Luffy's gonna put on that amazing disguise Hancock gave him, and the imposters are gonna gather their 100 new members from the Deep Web Straw Hats crew. And of course, the gang will show off all the power. If you enjoyed this video, go check out the last one. It's amazing. I'll be heading out now. Thanks, and see ya.